Welcome to the High Ticket Success Podcast, where premium coaches, consultants, and advisors come for bold strategies, big breakthroughs, and real results. I'm your host, Dave Dubeau.
Hey, gang, welcome back. Today, a special treat. We got Justin Colby zooming in. Justin is a very experienced real estate entrepreneur and entrepreneur in general. He's been in business for 20 years, and in his real estate business, he's done some impressive stuff. He's done over 3,000 transactions. But more importantly for us in the entrepreneurial space, he runs a very, very good show called, I believe, the Entrepreneurial DNA Show. If
that's right, Entrepreneur DNA.
And he's worked with thousands of up-and-coming entrepreneurs, helping them to create financial security and their financial future. So, Justin, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Dave, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
All right, my friend. So maybe just give us a little overview of when it comes to the whole coaching side of things.
Sure.
Who's like your ideal person and what's your secret sauce? How do you help them the most?
So I usually help early stage entrepreneurs or small business founders, right? Okay. The reason being is because I have 23 years of being an entrepreneur. My backstory is I went to UCLA, and to my mother's pridefulness, I started door knocking. I started a door knocking business, and she was so happy and proud of me. Right?
Are you being sarcastic? Because my mother,
she was not that proud. She was very like, "What did you just tell me?"
Well, because I'm wondering, because my son did that, and I was proud as hell of him for doing that, actually. But anyhow, now I get it.
Yeah. So so I've actually, from the day I graduated UCLA, I've been an entrepreneur. I've never spent a day as a W-2. So my uniqueness is I'm able to help individuals who are in that early stage in that small business. Like I'm on the field, I'm playing the game, but I'm just trying to figure it out. Right. Yeah. And so what I've helped thousands of individuals do over the last 3 years or so is understand how to build a business for themselves. What I've seen too often, I'm sure you've seen it, Dave, people go in with this image of what they think a business is, and it's a lifestyle business and time freedom. And next thing you know, they sell more than they've ever sold in their life and made less than they've ever made as a W-2 earner. And it's actually the opposite. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be an entrepreneur for those reasons, right? Because it happens all the time.
So are you saying the laptop lifestyle thing and the digital nomad thing that's getting pushed so much isn't necessarily the way to go?
The concept is, but it is very subjective to the business owner, right? Okay. And so what I don't necessarily agree with per se is the business owner who wants to go become a $1 billion company, or, I want to go be like, why don't you go get rich, like really rich? Why isn't that your goal? Because you can then leverage the income you make with investments. That's where you can see some really large upsides. But when you start a business, you need to focus on creating a whole lot of income before you start talking about scaling and all these different things. Because with a big business comes big problems. And most early stage entrepreneurs or small businesses aren't even aware of it because they haven't built it yet. And no one's telling them what I'm telling them. Like, hey, why don't we go get you a lot of money in your own personal pocket as a focus? Then you have options. So back to the backpack lifestyle or digital nomad, all those cute little terms, is very possible, but it's very much up to the business owner to design it, right? Like, what are you actually trying to do? So the first law of success to me is you have to understand or define what you want. That's the first law, because then secondarily, not number two, but secondarily, you have to become the person to get it. So what do you want and who do you need to be?
Maybe Justin, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through one of your favorite client stories, coaching client stories of who, maybe not their names if they don't want that, but where they were when you met them, what they were trying to do before you kind of straightened them out, how you helped them get this focus, and then what steps you took them through, and then what the current result is.
Yeah, I can tell you one right off the top of my head. We are now actually business partners. That's the level of how much growth this individual had. Came into my world, actually in the real estate space, really wanted to make a lot of money wholesaling, as an example. Seasoned guy, great resume, like wholesaling will work for everybody, but very quickly we started to realize he was higher level than the art and skill set of wholesaling. And now he has raised hundreds of millions of dollars for apartments, and we own a fund together.
Okay.
And it was the transition of helping him see and understand what he really wanted to build. Because can you go do great things, fix and flipping and wholesaling? Of course, 100%. I've done it for a very long time. But is that what you want? And if it's not what you want, you have to redesign what you want. And so him and I went deep on that. And then we started to try to figure out, what does he want his next 20 years of his life to look like? And it's not puppy dogs and rainbows, and it's not woo-woo shit. It is designing your business with the end in mind so that you can actually have what we all want. What do we all want? Happiness. We want to be happy. We know it's funny. And Dave, you know this, you're in the same circles I am. Money doesn't create happiness, because I have seen plenty of people want more and more money. Because what money usually, the result of more money is wanting even more of it with no real actual purpose. Right? I made $100,000. Now I want to make $1 million. I made $1 million. Now I want to make 10 million. I made 10 million. Now I want to make 100 million. And for what? And this is where you got to start asking, what do you want? And I want happiness. Right. And so for me, then I start to think about making money and owning a business and the work that goes into it and time freedom, spending time with my kids. So I say, okay, let me reverse into, if I can be content, does more money do anything for me? Now, your listeners, depending upon where they're at financially, they might just need to make more money.
Right.
But that's what I want to help them build.
Yeah. So what I was understanding you say initially was, a lot of small business owners, they're thinking about wanting a huge company. And you're saying, hey, focus on maximizing your own personal income from your business first.
Correct. That's right.
Then we figure out how to blow it up and scale it.
That's right.
Did I get that right? Okay.
Yeah. They get the idea, the dream, the wish, the hope, whatever example we want to talk about. Right. And they think they want to go become that big person that has the big business. Awesome. But instead of trying to go achieve that, why don't you go create a business that can create financial freedom for you? And that's subjective. What is financial freedom? Well, being able to, take off at 3:00 every single day, Monday through Friday, to pick up your kids and take them to the park. Okay, that's freedom. You're still working. But to me, I would define that as freedom all day long. Because how many dads don't have any time with their kids or sacrificed it all because they couldn't do that, right? So that is where I try to really help entrepreneurs. Like the Entrepreneur DNA podcast is an ecosystem. There's the Entrepreneur DNA podcast. There's the Entrepreneur DNA community. The Entrepreneur DNA community is ran by the advisors, which are my guests of the Entrepreneur DNA. So I have interviewed, and yourself included, people who have experiences that can really help the small business owner. And so the entire community is ran by them, not me. I'm not their coaching guru. I'm facilitating it. They are my friends. Dave and I have phone numbers together, right? And now they have access to Dave. And so that ecosystem is where I really try to lean into, is because I want to be able to help this, early stage entrepreneurs, the small entrepreneurs, understand some of the basics that I think the greater voice out there, social media, isn't really the framing they're giving. Right.
Yeah. So what are some of the big fallacies or myths or BS that you're seeing out there that unfortunately too many new entrepreneurs are swallowing up?
There's a lot. One of it is this over kind of gaslighting that you can have it all, like go big, 10x everything, right? And I'm not going to blame any of the books, right? Benjamin Hardy wrote a great book, 10x is better than 2x. I actually do believe that. So I'm not trying to say that isn't incorrect, but you can't just go to 10x with going to 1. You can't 10x anything if you don't get to 1 first, 0 to 1, right? And so I think there's this fallacy out there, or at least this image or desire to be this big business. And I'll tell you, when you make $1 million to $2 million, somewhere in there, there's not a lot you can't do. There's not a lot. You may not buy a, $20 million yacht. Okay. But no one needs that, right? Like that's not so I think a great small business can actually create something more. I think more people need to shed their identity. I said this recently on a podcast. You need to die and you need to be reborn. The person who you are listening to this podcast needs to die so that the better version of yourself can be reborn and can transition into that, because the better version of yourself will achieve what you're trying to achieve. But if you don't let go of everything and all the nonsense and who you are up to this point, because who you are up to this point listening to this podcast is not who you want to be, then that version of you needs to die and you need to transition into the better version of you. And that might be going a little bit slower, paying more attention, inspecting what you expect, understanding your P&L, understanding your personal finances. Like, how much does it cost to run all this? I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I have 2 cars. I have a house. Do you even know what your monthly nut is, right? Like that version of someone is not what we are seeing, at least not what I'm seeing as the greater macro audience of the small business owner. The small business owner right now is very much caught up in there's terms out there in a blanket, but like the bro, like, come on, bro, you can have anything, go get it.
Yeah.
Listen, you can't.
I got a 24-year-old son who's kind of in that stage right now. So.
Yeah. And so, I love taking the hustler into a version of a CEO, because that is where the difference is made, right? Is you got to increase your standards of life. You got to increase your standards for yourself. Because one thing I know through my coach, we talk a lot about this. Feelings will get you in a tailspin. Standards are what hold you up. Standards are what helps you grow. So the idea that I don't want to have a glass ceiling. I don't want to be a W-2 and have a glass ceiling. Well, you can't raise your ceiling if you don't raise your floor. And the only way to raise your floor is if you raise your standards. So are you looking in the mirror, genuine and honest and vulnerable and open, and say, am I holding myself to the standards that I know need to be held to achieve the thing that I want to achieve? And that's where I call a lot of my clients out. I go, guys, girls, like, you want X, but the version of you right now needs to die. Your standards are not near what your desires are. Standards and desires, that feeling I want, that's going to make me happy. Get out of your feelings.
So maybe give us some more examples of what standards are. Compare and contrast a standard versus a feeling.
A feeling is the, happiness, this makes me mad. Like, I'm frustrated. Well, not everything goes right. But so standards is almost like military. I'll bring it to like the boiler point of a military. If you do the right thing every day, at all times, on every choice, a simple example, my standard is not to hit the snooze button. I will not do it. When my alarm goes off at 4:30, I throw my feet out of bed, even though for sure my feelings and desires are, I want to stay warm in this bed. Okay. Every morning, by the way, I'm telling you guys, I have the same feeling you have as you sit there. Oh, I know, but my bed's well, my standards are, I can't play at that level. That is my standard. I need Justin Colby time. The only time I can find Justin Colby time is in the morning.
Before everybody else gets up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if I sacrifice that because I'm tired and I don't feel like it, right back to feelings, I don't feel like it, or I'm frustrated, remove all that. What are my standards? Like the military, right? And you don't have to be like, I'm using the military because they just have great standards, but those are the simple things. Like, do you miss working out? Why do you miss working out? Like, it's not because you don't feel like it. You don't get to use your feelings. I do not feel like working out at 5 a.m. every morning. I promise you guys, right? So if I let my feelings take over, what happens? I become overweight. I never work out. I eat shitty food because it tastes better than healthy food for sure. No one can argue that, right?
Yeah.
So I want small businesses, early stage entrepreneurs, the people, the hustlers, they need direction. That is why the Entrepreneur DNA community exists. Because people like yourself and so many other amazing people that I've interviewed over the years, from very, very famous to billionaires to maybe not as famous and not as rich, but they are experts. They're great at the thing that they do. And so that community is really important.
Beautiful. So as we're wrapping up, Justin, if people want to check out the community, find out more about you, where's the best place for people to really dial into this entrepreneurial DNA?
Yeah, Instagram's probably the platform I use most. So the Justin Colby. And then the community is called The Entrepreneur DNA, just like the podcast. So you can check out the podcast on Apple and Spotify and all the platforms. And then, or you can go to the website, The Entrepreneur DNA. The community itself is less than a gym membership, and you are learning from the greats. You are learning from the people in the businesses that are way further down the road than you are. And it's silly to not take advantage of their wisdom, because they're the ones that had to go eat glass for decades to be able to give you the wisdom that they have of what to do and what not to do. So yeah, The Entrepreneur DNA, and happy to serve and excited to be here.
Justin, this is great. Thank you so much for sharing some of your insights. I love your distinction there between feelings and standards. That really popped out at me. So thanks for sharing that. And thanks for everything that you're doing for entrepreneurs. It's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the High Ticket Success Podcast. Want to be featured, share your story, and inspire other premium coaches, consultants, and advisors? Apply now at highticketsuccesspodcast.com/guest.